Hey, what's going on, guys? James here bringing you another YouTube video, and this one is going to be, honestly, it's a really, really special video. Because, to tell all you guys the truth, I haven't watched anything professional wrestling in 2 complete years. The last thing I watched for anything wrestling whatsoever, not including CM Punk's return to wrestling, that short little segment, and a couple of promos he's cut since, I have not watched anything pro wrestling, no matches or anything like that, since the end of 2019. And I knew that, of course, the primary thing I was watching was WWE. That's what, what I grew up with. That's what made me a fan in the first place. And I just knew that I was losing interest. I didn't like WWE specifically as much anymore, and I just wasn't ready to fully branch out into other stuff yet. I mean, I'd already been a fan of TNA, really liked them for a while, and then they made me lose interest. And I hear Impact's doing really well now, but that's besides the point that I'm trying to make for this. Ring of Honor wasn't anywhere near the same as it was in the mid-2000s. AEW was just brand new, and I knew that even while brand new, I'd watched some of their stuff before I fell out of watching wrestling, and it was good. It was. I enjoyed it, and NXT was far from the NXT that made me fall in love with NXT by that point. So yeah, I lost interest, and I know a lot of people say like they're going to stop watching and then they're just going to tune in by force of habit anyway, and they never really stop. For me, I didn't say anything like that. I stopped watching. Simple as that. And it worked. I just stopped without saying I was going to stop. And I stayed away for 2 years. Obviously, I'm still around wrestling because it's impossible to not be around it at this point for me. It's so ingrained in my life that I don't know if I'll ever be fully away from it. But nonetheless, today, December 16th, 2021, I watched pro wrestling for the first time in 2 years. I was so close to coming back with CM Punk's return. And again, I came back a little bit, a tiny little bit, specifically with his return promo, and then the promos he cut with Eddie Kingston and MJF. I watched that. But today, what brought me back into watching wrestling was the debut episode of DPW Fire. For those of you who don't know, DPW Fire is a new promotion called Deadlock Pro Wrestling. Fire, I assume, is going to be their weekly YouTube show. I'll put a link in the description to their YouTube channel with the actual wrestling show. The first episode, I really enjoyed it. And again, for those of you who don't know, Deadlock is run by Pulse, Tony Pizza Guy, and Johnny from New Legacy. It is their promotion, and it is clearly an actual promotion. They put on an actual, or they had like actual tapings, and they're going to be releasing the episodes. They already had multiple shows announced, with a second show called You Already Know in January. And I'm sure you could probably still get some tickets for that as well. But yeah, I knew that as I started to get reinterested in wrestling again, why not get back into it while watching the debut episode of this show from this new promotion that is being run by some of my favorite creators ever. 3 of like my biggest influences, you know? Like, I've talked about so much in the past how much I love Pulse. Tony, I mean, if it wasn't for Tony's original SVR 11 Universe mode with Evan Bourne and Christian, I don't think I ever would have found Universe mode myself anywhere near as interesting. And Universe mode has become some of my favorite content to make and do so many different things with. And Johnny, I mean, Johnny and everyone in New Legacy is just so great and so entertaining, and they're just, again, amazing. So I figured, yeah, why not support some of my favorite creators, watch the debut episode of their new promotion, DPW Fire. So yes, I did, and like I said, it was 3 matches. I enjoyed the show. It kicked off with Lucky Ali versus Kid Bandit, and then it went to Bojack versus Josh Fuller, I think. I'll have to double check when I'm editing this. And then the main event was Andrew Everett versus Rosemary. And I think they honestly perfectly structured the card. It worked really well. The only thing that I would change, if I were putting this together, I would change their advert placements. Their adverts and sponsors, they had it all in one spot right after the opening match. Now, there may be other reasons why they did that I don't know, but if it were me, I would have those spread out between the matches. Have some after the first match, and then have some after the second match. Again, that's what I would do, but again, there may be a completely another reason why that they did it that way. So, but yeah, all 3 matches, they were good. They were from guys that I really had not watched before. Like, I know Rosemary because of, you know, her work in TNA Impact. But other than that, well, I knew Rosemary, and I knew of Andrew Everett because of all the stuff he does interacting with New Legacy. But yeah, other than that, I wasn't familiar with anyone else. And I was pleasantly surprised. Granted, I had no expectations going in because, again, I haven't watched wrestling in so long. And I knew that they were a brand new promotion, and I knew that they were taking it seriously. In this first episode, it showed it. They took it seriously. They put on a good show, an entertaining show, while also not forgetting what got them there in the first place. Them being entertaining content creators as well. So yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed the show, and I don't know if I'm ready to jump back into major promotions quite yet, being like WWE, TNA, anything that Ring of Honor is going to do before they presumably close their doors, AEW, New Japan. I don't know if I'm ready to jump into major promotions yet, but I'm definitely going to tune in next week for the next episode of DPW Fire. That is for sure. But I'm going to keep this short. I don't have much else to say. Again, I'm not too familiar with anyone that wrestled. I just know I enjoyed the matches. They structured the card perfectly, and I can't wait for more. So from the bottom of my heart, Tubby, Tony, Johnny, Pulse, and everyone that helped make DPW a thing, thank you. Because just like CM Punk and Jeff Hardy did for me in the summer of 2009, making me a fan, you guys have all brought me back into watching wrestling. Thank you. But until next time, I'll see you later. Bye, guys.